Hey guys, I'm Kelly T for Kelly T Black Metal Reviews. We are on YouTube. Please look us up, hit subscribe, hit the notifications so you don't miss these deadly albums that we're talking to you about every single week. We're also on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Alright, today I am talking to you about the work of a very unique and dark, raw black metal solo project hailing from Australia known as Burier. I know so many of you are across this artist's work, but for those of you who aren't, you need to be. So I'm going to give you the lowdown on why. Burier only started out recently, I presume, because his work started hitting us from 2019, and to date has crafted a single, 2 demos, a split, and 2 full-length albums. So today, of course, I'm talking to you about the latest release, which is Burier IV Wielding Malignity. This sold out fast, guys. There was 50 tapes that went up, and within 2 minutes, they were all gone. But I do have good news. Goatowarex is releasing this today on tape and later on vinyl, so another great example of why it's so important to follow the labels and follow these bands. Burier has absolutely nailed the nightmare-inducing sounds that he creates, and the project manages to just have such a big atmosphere about it, both with a raw sound, such an abruptness to it at times, certainly terrifying. You know, this is such a terrifying listen for the most part, and this latest offering certainly is curdled with so much blood and just inflicts this addictive torture, and it's fairly suffocating and certainly a very heavy listen. Compared to Burier's last full-length release, In Communication with Death, please check that out as well. The track duration to Wielding Malignity is a lot shorter. However, there are 12 of these tracks. The album is around 40 minutes long, and this is no small package by any means, and each track just leaves a punishing, fermented stain, and I actually appreciated these shorter tracks. It was such a journey, and you were just catapulted from one track to the other all the way through this album. I definitely feel that Burier has upped the obscurity even more so within this album. The agitation and the anguish within this is so very present, and it just pulverizes with those lo-fi heavy sounds, the aggressive as hell riffs, and the graveling, insanely tormented vocals that just continually crash over this musicianship. Burier is making it very, very clear that the sound is all about putrid ambience, distorted filth with foreboding, and often disturbing melodicism that just forces you into some pretty dark places. You really do need to experience this. You know, you need to experience this for yourself. This truly is void of any light whatsoever. It's exceptionally temperamental and very, very moody. Alright guys, I've narrowed it down to 3 of my favorite tracks off this album, and it was hard. You know, this has to be listened to from start to finish. Do not have any interruptions with this journey, because you're going to get maximum impact just letting it play and immersing yourself in this. But nevertheless, favorite tracks, Death Trap. Oof, this track just crushes, guys. Those layered riffs with the absolutely devastating trem picks that go on top of it. This was just so incredibly intoxicating and gloomy. Absolutely love this track. Abyss of Knives was completely unyielding and exceptionally emotive in a twisted, scary way. I'm not talking about pulling on the heartstrings, beauty, you know, beautiful emotions. There is none of that in this album. This is very, very dark and tormented shit. And this track was fan-fucking-tastic. Bleeding Forever. Talk about push down to the pits of hell, and that's where I stayed. This is where it's at. The riffs just broke me, those lo-fi sounds. The melancholic guitar work was just insanely good, and the vocals were just sounding so incredibly pained across the canvas of it all. This was such a good track. Definitely my pick off this album, and an absolutely crushing album this is indeed. Oof, this man can riff, let me tell you, and I really felt it. You know, I know this man can riff, but in this album he really showcases what he can do, and overall this is exceptionally riff driven. The twists and turns created by the guitar work aligned with those massive massacrating drums, it just works so well, and it just created no space for you to run as the listener. You are fully trapped within this album when you listen to it. And as a follower of Burier's work since the beginning, you know, I've really noticed the maturity of his songwriting and his overall musicianship within this album. Burier IV Wielding Malignity, it's massive, it's purely devastating and completely annihilating. It's on Bandcamp, of course, go and check it out. Please have a listen. Of course, let me know what you think, whether you agree or not. I love to have these conversations with you guys. And of course, Burier is on Instagram, and so is Goatowarex on Instagram and Facebook, and they're both on Bandcamp, of course. To Burier, dead set, mate. This was just so dissonant and completely disturbing at times, and I did froth over this, I've got to tell you. So thank you. I'm Kelly T. This is my black metal reviews.